Why, hello there, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. My name is Mr. Dogboat333, and welcome back to Hearts of Iron 4 Kaiserredux. Now, last time we played at Kaiserredux, technically I'm doing an offline Pacific States series, but I don't know if this is going up before that goes up or not. I don't. The uploads are going to be a little wacky, and when they're being recorded in the order that they're uploaded in. But that's besides the point. It was either Transamore or the Pacific States of America. And what we did depended on the series. But, we're going to hop in, play a new game in Kaiserredux. I'm going to go ahead and we'll select Austria to scroll out for now. But we're not going to be playing them. Instead, we'll be hopping in as, well, part of the Austrian Empire. We'll be hopping in as Bohemia. So we'll go ahead, hit the start button. Oh yeah, Kaiserredux PSA. I didn't do the cold path, actually. Well, I might hop in and do another cut, because I did a normal democratic PSA path. And I might do a more funny one before I go. This is being recorded on my 24-hour stream, which I actually forgot. I did not publish. I was doing that right now on YouTube, but that's okay. I'll just have to record this part, and then we'll get to that. But yeah, I'm doing this on 24-hour stream right now on Twitch. So, yeah. You know? Server being uploaded shortly after, like a couple months after the fact. Fucking asteroids better check themselves before they erect themselves. That's good. This is why we have you around, Kev. You come up with shit like that. Brilliant. There we are, Kaiserredux. Let me play the game. In-game paths. Alright, what do we got? Declaration Vincelas Street. Revolution. Either take Vienna or wait a few months. Okay. Alright, I don't really know what I'm going to do. I know I want to break free and become independent, but from there I'm not sure. But let's take a look at our starting situation in Bohemia. We have T.G. Masaryk, the first governor of Bohemia. Tomas Gaug Masaryk has proven to be one of the most popular and famous figures in Czech history. Born in 1850 on the Morava River, or town of Hodonín, the grand old man of Europe was raised by Catholic parents, later becoming part of the Reformed Church. In 1900, Masaryk founded the Czech People's Progressive Party, later christened by the Realist. By 1907, the new politician was elected to the Imperial Council of Vienna, and yet again in 1911. Upon the declaration of war which dragged Austria-Hungary into the Weltkrieg, Masaryk supported the transformation of Austria-Hungary into a federation, before moving into opposition of the monarchy. By now, he was a wanted man in Austria-Hungary and retreated to Paris. As the tide turned decisively and the Germans neared Paris, Masaryk fled yet again, this time to New York. Here he announced the coronation of Kaiser Karl as King of Bohemia in late 1924. 2 years later, Masaryk would return to Bohemia, not as a revolutionary, but as part of an agreement between the wanted Czechs and the monarchy. Kaiser Karl promised federative reforms in Bohemia and pardons Masaryk and many other colleagues of his on the condition that they would quell the rising tensions in Bohemia and save it from needless destruction. In the first Bohemian election, Masaryk and Beneš were elected in a near landslide, becoming the first governors of reformed Bohemia. Now in 1936, Masaryk stands at the frighteningly old age, viewed by many to pass away very soon, as a national hero to the Czech people. Beautiful. I'll go ahead and swap to my endonyms. Very interesting. All right. So let's check our focus. Our things we got. Head of government is Edward Benesh. I think that's how you say that. I don't speak Czech. If you watch me long enough, you know I barely speak English sometimes. So if I have any Czech viewers watching right now, I do apologize. And then we have Jan Masaryk as our foreign minister, Emil Franke as our economy minister. We have Olikar Kroski as our Ministry of Interior. We're led by the Realist, which are National Socialists. You know, that's okay. Alright, the Realist Party, founded in 1900, was a product of Governor T.G. Masaryk and the late Kirill Kramar. The party was an advocate for either Austrian federalism or Czech independence. The party was born from Masaryk's experience in the anti-Semitic Hilsner trial, in which a bitter taste had formed between both the young and old Czechs. The party is now a pro-Illyrian, pro-democracy, anti-clerical, and very pro-federalism. It also holds a significant national sentiment, but as with most parties in reform Bohemia, is watched closely lest they fall out of line. Apparently, the event Hungary is to rebel. The Realist Party wants to annex Czechoslovakia, a callback to Czechoslovakism and the Weltkrieg. Czech National Socialists were actually moderate liberal social democrats. They were a real party. That makes sense. It's just the term National Socialism has not ended well. Despite the name, its ideology espoused by the National Socialist Party promotes civic nationalism, Czech patriotism, liberal reformism, and liberalized moderated socialism. It is immensely populist within its citizenry, while seeking to establish a moderated welfare state. Denouncing Marxist ideals of socialism, instead pushing for a reformist agenda tied to modern capitalism, these National Socialists seek to bring liberty, prosperity, egalitarianism, and patriotism to their own people. Though mildly anti-Semitic in its past well before the Great War, the party and its ideology long abandoned these venomous ideas and pushed for a truly liberal united nation for all within its borders. Benesh, Czechoslovak Prime Minister. Well, Benesh was brought up here as being elected together. Let me go and check the focus tree real quick. We have some radical changes. And we have some Nat Pop stuff, which is a little unfortunate. But, yeah, all interesting so far. We have the Outside Revolt as well. We could join the Entente, do the Little Entente, join the Reichspakt, or join the Moscow Accord. Interesting, okay. Deport the Hungarians. Might want to get to that eventually. All the damn do. We have some interesting options here. This is a pretty neat looking tree, I gotta say. I am here for it, personally. Yeah, let's do this. And let's check out our national spirits first. We have, we're first a constituent of the Austrian Empire. This nation or royal holding is a constituent part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire, at least in name. Next, we have the German-Czech divide, which has some not nice debuffs. Ever since the Bohemian reforms of the crown went into effect, Germans residing in Bohemia felt largely betrayed and represented by the Czech governments. While the Bund der Landwirte and some other minor German parties have Czech equivalents, the common German Bohemian feels unsatisfied in Bohemia. The Czech administration have steps to take before ensuring true stability in Bohemia. We also have Charles University. Named after the Holy Roman Emperor Charles IV, Charles University has served as a linchpin of Bohemian higher education. After the revolutions of '48 and the subsequent rise of nationalism, Charles University suffered a split due to linguistic differences between Germans and Czechs. Charles University was subsequently divided into Charles Ferdinand University by the Imperial Council in war of equal status. By 1928, the Germans moved their university to Reichenberg, which saw the František Mareš gain an increased role in the school's pro-Czech policy. Nevertheless, Charles University continues to serve Bohemia to its fullest extent. Next, we have Škoda Works. Founded by Emil Škoda in 1899, Škoda was a collection of holdings of machine and arms factories acquired in the later half of the 19th century. Škoda was Austria-Hungary's most important artillery supplier and overall forms a large swath of the importance to the crown of Bohemia to Vienna, as Škoda and similar industry enterprises dominate the region's industrial prowess. Škoda, after the Weltkrieg, transitioned back to civilian cars, tractors, and other manners of vehicles, but for a brief time during the South Slavic Revolt, supplied both sides of conflict with artillery, officially siding with Vienna. Sneaky, sneaky. Next, we have rural separation, which sucks. Jesus. The industrial centers of Bohemia are split from the rural countryside of Bohemia, with both physical and government infrastructure being too sparse. This means that it's difficult for Prague to communicate with rural towns and cities. Next, we have a legacy of the coronation. A central aspect of contemporary Bohemian history, King Karl I was crowned King of Bohemia in 1924, much of the still boiling nationalist fury. In hindsight, the coronation was what awoke in Austria-Hungary to its deep divide, and thus began the drafting of Der Föderalismusplan, the overall plan to finally federalize Austria-Hungary and save it from imminent internal collapse. It is also what started the South Slavic Revolt, as Slavic ill were fired in its black brick kilns in Bosnia. Over the course of half a decade, the South Slavs, the guerrillas, fought against Vienna, but ended in defeat, culminating in the formation of Illyria in 1933. Oh, there we go. Quite a big focus tree, actually. Whew. For now, let's go ahead, because we only start one way. Let's do the castle into 1936. The castle has been firmly led by Maastricht for a decade now, ever since he came to take the reins in the Partners Agreement. Now, with a new year ahead of us, Maastricht's age continues forcing Benesch to take a more active role in the nation's governance in his stead. We can construct a air research facility, which would be cool. Let's get all of this set up first before I continue the unpause. For field commanders, we'll do Ludwig Krejci, and then generals will go with Josef Vatruba. We'll build some civi factories over here. We have a decent potential for an industrial base, looks like, but actually I'll build... Focus the first one in Prague. And then get that going. Yeah, here we go. So, Oh no, that's not what I meant to do. Oh, jeez. Okay. The Kingdom of Bohemia in the Margraviate of Moravia, commonly known as just Bohemia, lies at the center of Habsburg interest. Reportedly, Kaiser Karol I's favorite Alva constituents, and a leading industrial manufacturer of the Austro-Hungarian Empire, Bohemia has seen its fair share of Habsburg oversight and nationalist scuffles. Ever since the Weltkrieg began, the Czechs of Bohemia sought a way to leave. Whether this was by supporting the domestic resistance, the Mafia, or by joining the Czechoslovak legions and so-called militants, the Czechs fought tooth and nail. Personalities such as Tomáš Garrigue Masaryk or Milan Rastislav Stefanik at the head of a Czechoslovak ideal. When it became evident to these wanted men that Germany was en route to a total victory, many of the men fled to the Upper East neighborhood of Manhattan, continuing an unrecognized Czechoslovak government in exile. As time passed, however, the Czechoslovak government in exile gradually degraded into both a Czech and a Slovak government, headed by two paragons of Czechoslovakism. However, this idea still holds in their hearts. A long time ago, Bohemia went through a period of internal instability as the KUK troops cleared out the Mafia resistance. Meanwhile, the sympathetic CSDSD and CSL began close cooperation with Vienna, consistently dominating the local election as Kaiser Karol tightened his gauntlet around Prague. In 1924, Kaiser Karol I declared his intention to be crowned King of Bohemia, resulting in mass protests throughout Bohemia and Moravia. However, this outrage from the Czechs was not reciprocated in German majority regions. Thus, a ridge between the Czechs and Germans began to take shape, only widening as the coronation successfully took place, cementing Kaiser Karol as holder of the Wenzelkrone. However, the outrage only grew, resulting in a Mafia resurgence. KUK troops were shot and harassed by small partisan bands, actions that only spread the word of the Bohemian crisis further down into the empire. Down the kingdoms of Croatia, Slavonia, and Bosnia, the words resonated within minds that understood the Czechs, and thus what was happening in Bohemia began to happen in the southern Slavic nations. Meanwhile, in Bohemia, the rioters were at a breaking point. Kaiser Karol I struck a popular deal with the rioters, pardon the Czechoslovak government in exile, institute democratic reforms, and allow the Czechs a larger role in government, and they would cease. Fortunately, this was almost exactly what the Kaiser wanted. He was finally pushing for federation, whether Hungary liked it or not. Thus, in 26, the Partners Agreement was struck, and the first election that occurred 2 years later, T.G. Masaryk and his student Edvard Beneš won a historic landslide, crushing the ruling CSDSD. The agrarians and National Democrats similarly cleaved large swaths of a diet, pushing the CSL and CSDSD's long duumvirate at an end. Masaryk began to clear up lines, and the Partners Agreement left blurry, instituting autonomy for increasingly restless German Bohemians who viewed Prague as oppressive, and wanted more direct rule from Vienna, not a foreign Slavic capital. Since that election, 8 long years have passed, resulting in Masaryk's re-election in 32. Many see Masaryk's death as imminent, as last year Beneš was called in to lead the nation Masaryk's bouts of illness. Nevertheless, not all is fine for Bohemia. It is a common secret that many still aspire for Czechoslovakia, or a free Czech nation. The German Bohemians have begun to radicalize. The fires of war on the horizon loom on the horizon westwards. But even then, Bohemia remains hopeful that truth will prevail, as it always has done before. Pravda vyteží, ale dá tu fusku. I'm sure I nailed that 100%. Not a bit of doubt there. How barbaric. The Riga Winter Olympics, very interesting. Title's chapter. So, I've been to the Czech Republic before. Prague, at least. We've driven through a few areas here. Very cool country. I didn't appreciate as much as I probably realized I should have, because I was looking at a lot of we were in a lot of Eastern Europe, so, or like Central Europe, more like. Oh, really? You can never escape poverty. Anyway, so I gotta check out Prague before. It's pretty cool. Also went to Budapest, Vienna, and Munich on that trip. So I had a lot of stuff going on, and I guess, I don't know. But it seems like a cool place. Well, it is a cool place. So shout out Prague. Black Monday, the economic catastrophe that has ravaged not only Berlin's economy, but the wider world at large, has finally spread out to our Bohemia. Across the nation, businesses are closing, banks are failing, and people are losing savings in an instant. All the while, the lines of unemployed and unhoused grow ever longer in every city and settlement in our state. Our government has been sent reeling from this tremendous shock, but one thing remains clear. We must do something. What if a collages? I didn't know you went to Czechia. I did. It's pretty cool. I liked it a lot. We did an escape room there. And then we did a ghost tour. What else did we do while we were there? Checked out the old Jewish quarter. That was cool to see. A lot of history of the Jews there. Alright, let's do the one that pushes us towards rebellion. Bezprasha Neju Kolacha. If that works, there are no Kolaches. The Czechs make up the majority of these lands, so why should we stray from the status quo of ensuring that they are the focus of our government's attention? Let's go ahead. Let's construct the Velika Bitish Air Research Facility. Icelandic independence, very nice. Does Iceland even have any... Does Iceland get any extra content? Now we have this. This is not in base game, I know. One nation that I've been strangely interested in playing has been Iceland. Might just do that in base game Kaiserredux, but yeah, I don't know. Anyway, our struggle for autonomy has been a long and arduous one, to say the least. However, the current state of Bohemia is far better off than it was 20 years prior, with better Czech representation within the Austrian Empire. This is all thanks to Tomáš Garrigue Masaryk, the first elected representative of Bohemia, following his push for reforms. His years of advocating autonomy and the liberalization of the empire was well spent. He now leads a government in Prague with the support of much of our population. Where would we be without him? Really Czech language, funny Polish people. It's apparently almost unintelligible, but words mean different things that are innocuous in Czech, but is equivalent to pretty rude things in Polish, and languages sound just like badly Google translated Polish. Interesting. Interesting. Where would we be without him? I think that's a good place to start off with. Because I'm going to go ahead and leave it there for now, folks. But thank you so much for watching. Like, if you like, dislike. If you didn't leave any comments, feedback down in the comment section below. I read all the comments again. Appreciate any of your favorite comment have for me. And, yeah, leave any comments down in the comment section below. Check out my various links down in the description box below. And I will see you all next time. Thanks for watching, and bye-bye.